Good day, everyone. Today we are delighted to present our report on the psychology of language, fourth edition, by Chapter 2, Describing Language. Hi, my name is Jerusalem Maryhill, and I am joined by my talented colleagues, Kyla Kate Benabilio, Roan Faith Ubila. During our analysis of this report, we have delved deep into this topic. Our group has worked tirelessly to ensure that our presentation is insightful, informative, and engaging for all of you. By the first slide, learning objectives. By the end of this chapter, you should know how the sounds of language can be categorized, understand how we make different sounds, understand how syntactic rules describe the structure of language, be able to construct parse trees of simple sentences, understand the importance of the work of the linguist Chomsky. Introduction. This chapter introduces the building blocks of language, sounds, words, and sentences. It describes how we make sounds and form words, and how we order words to form sentences. The chapter also provides means of describing sounds and sentence structure. How to describe speech sounds. Acoustics is the name of the study of the physical properties of sounds. Acoustic information about sounds can be depicted in a number of ways. One of the most commonly used is the sound spectrogram. A spectrogram shows the amount of energy present in sounds when frequency is plotted against time. The peaks of energy at particular frequencies are called formants. Formant structure is an important characteristic of speech sounds. All vowels and some consonants have formants, but the pattern of formants is particularly important in distinguishing vowels. So, I know that everyone knows our vowels and consonants. And now, we can describe the sounds of speech at two levels. First is the phonetics, and second is the phonology. So phonetics is describe the acoustic detail of speech sounds or their physical properties and how they are articulated, while the phonology describe the sounds categories each language uses to divide as the space of possible sounds. An example should make this clear. Consider the P in the English word pin versus spin. The actual sounds are different. You can tell this by putting your hands to your mouth as you say them. You shall be able to feel a breath of air going out as you say pin, but not as you say spin. The P sounds in pin is said to be aspirated, and that in spin is aspirated. A phoneme is a basic unit of sounds in particular language. In English, the two sorts of P are the same phoneme, where, whereas in Thai they are different phonemes. The two P sounds are phonetically different. They are said to be different phones. Phones to phones are said to be instances of the same phoneme in a particular language. Is the difference between them never make a difference to the meaning of word. Again, if the difference between them never makes a difference to the meaning of words. Different phones that are understood as the same phoneme in a language are called allophones. Hence, in English, the aspirated P sounds are allophones. Whether or not a P is aspirated never makes a difference to the meaning of a word. To take another example, the sounds I and R are clearly different phones, and in English, they are also different phonemes. In Japanese, they are also different phonemes. Or rather, in Japanese, they are just allophones of the same phoneme. On the other hand, the sounds at the beginning of the game, vein, fame, and same are different phonemes in English. Switch them around and you change the meaning of the word. A special notation is used for distinguishing between phones and phonemes. Square brackets are used to designate phones. Again, square brackets are used to designate phones, where slanting lines are used for phonemes. Slanting lines are used for phonemes. Broadly speaking, phonetics is the study of phones, and phonology is the study of phonemes. There are three types of phonetics. Before we proceed, I want you to watch this video.
In this video, we are going to focus on the two consonant sounds B and P. I know they sound very similar, but they are actually different. And they are very important sounds in English. So I want you to be able to hear the difference and pronounce them differently. So let's take two example words. The first example word is bin. Now, can you hear the B sound? Bin. Now, the second example word is pin. Can you hear the difference? The P sound? Pin. Bin. Pin. I know they sound very similar, but they are different, and with practice, you will hear the difference and you will be able to pronounce them differently. I promise you that. So let's get started. The first step is to know how to make these B and P sounds in English, so you can pronounce them correctly and you know the difference between the two sounds. And I'm going to teach you that. Also, guys, if you're serious about pronunciation, it's very important to know about the IPA spelling. You can also watch how I move my mouth, and of course, always try to repeat after me in this video. I'm sure you can master these sounds. So, let's do this. Okay, guys, let's now practice producing the sound B in English. So, what you're going to do, the first thing is that this B sound is voiced, which means that you're going to use your voice. So when you produce the sound, you are going to feel a vibration in your throat. And what you're going to do is basically push out the air with your lips. They should touch each other. So, B. Okay, please repeat the sound after me. B. 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 Let's now practice with the word bin. Please repeat after me. Bin. 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 Good. And now let's practice producing the sound P in English. So, P is basically going to be the exact same thing as the B sound, but it's unvoiced. which means that you are not going to use your voice. No vibration in the throat. You're just going to push out the air with your lips. No sound. So, p. Can you repeat after me? P. 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 Let's practice with the word pin. Repeat after me. Pin. 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 Good job. Okay, students, let's now practice with minimal pairs, words that sound very similar, but the actual sounds are different. They are very useful to help you hear the difference between the two sounds. So first, let's practice just the sounds, okay? And I want you to repeat after me. First, the B sound. B. 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 And now the P sound. Remember, unvoiced, okay? Watch my mouth. Repeat after me. P. 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 Good. Let's now practice both. Please repeat after me. B. P. B. P. B. P. Good. And let's now take our words. Please repeat after me. Bin. Pin. Bin. Pin. Bin. Pin. Excellent, guys. Moving on. Let's now go through minimal pairs together. Remember to watch how I move my mouth and to repeat after me. Let's do this. Bear. Pear. Base. Pace. Bat. Pat. Batty. Patty. Bay. Pay. Bead. Peed. Beak. Peak. Bear. Pear. Beat. Pete. Bee. Pea. Beep. Peep. Beer. Peer. Belt. Pelt. Best. Pest. Bet. Pet. Big. Pig. Bill. Pill. Bit. Pit. Bitch. Pitch. Blade. Played. Bland. Planned. Blank. Plank. Blaster. Plaster. plays. Bleat, pleat. Bleed, plead. Bloom, plume. Blot, plot. Blunder, plunder. Blush, plush. Braise, praise. Brat, prat. Brawn, prawn. Breach, preach. Breast, pressed. Brick, prick. Bride, pride. Boo, poo. Ball, paw. Bull, pull. Burr, purr. But, put. Butter, putter. Buy, pie. Cab, cap. Cub, cup. Lib, lip. Pub, pup. Rib, rip. Robe, rope. Tab, tap. Very good, guys. Let's now practice with a few sentences using these consonant sounds. The first sentence is, the bear cub plundered pears and butter. Can you repeat after me, guys? The bear cub plundered pears and butter. The second sentence is, the bride blushed at the proud preacher. Please repeat after me. The bride blushed at the proud preacher. Good. And finally, please pet the big pig. Repeat after me. Please pet the big pig. Great job, guys. Moving on. Let's now move on to listening practice. I'm now going to show you 2 words. I will say one of the 2 words, and I want you to listen very carefully and to tell me if this word is A or B. Let's get started. Let's start with our first 2 words. Now, which one do I say? A or B? Listen very carefully. Rope. A or B? One more time. Rope. Now, what do you think, guys? It's B. Rope. A would be pronounced robe. Okay. What about now? Bride. Bride. Is it A or B? It's A. Bride. B is pride. And then beak. Beak. It's A, beak. B is peak. Breast. Breast. Which one is it? It's A, breast. B is pressed. Preach. Preach. B, of course, preach. A is breach. Then I have bear. Bear. A or B? It's A, bear. B is pear. Now, cap. Cap. It's B. A would be cab. What about now? Cup. Cup. Is it A or is it B? It's B. Cup. A is cub. Then I have plays. Plays. Now what do you think? It's B. Plays. A is blaze. And finally, rib. Rib. It's A, rib. B is rip. I'm sure you did a great job. Excellent, students. Well, I know you now have a better understanding of the consonant sounds B and P in English. Please don't stop there. Keep practicing. It takes a lot of practice to master these sounds, but you can do it. And by practicing, you also train your ear to hear the difference between these consonant sounds. Please make sure to watch the next English pronunciation video as I keep talking about the different sounds in English so you can improve your skills. See you next time.
Okay, let's proceed again. There are three types of phonetics depending on what is emphasized. First is articulatory, which emphasizes how sounds are made. Second is auditory or perceptual, which emphasizes how sounds are perceived. And lastly is the acoustic, which emphasizes the sound's waveform and physical properties. There are the three types of phonetics. Two words in a language that differ by one sounds are called minimal pairs. Example of minimal pairs are dog and cog, bat and pat, fog and puff. We can also talk about the minimal set of words. Example are pat, bat, cat, hat, all of which differ by only one phonem in the same position. As we have just seen, substituting one phonem for another by definition leads to a change of the meaning, whereas just changing one tone for another. Example, aspirated for aspirated. Need not necessarily lead to a change in meaning. Okay, now, as you can see on the presentation, this is the IPA, which is the International Phonetic Alphabet. I have here a video about the IPA or how we pronounce the vowels, consonants, and the diphthongs. Um, let's watch first.
Hi, this is Mary from the IPS TV. Today we'll continue with English pronunciation. In particular, we're going to study the International Phonetic Alphabet, or IPA. Why do we need to study IPA? Well, as you may know, the way an English word is spelled is different from the way it is pronounced, right? So the best way to make sure that you are pronouncing an English word correctly is to study English pronunciation. Now, there are 44 sounds in IPA with the vowels, 12 sounds, diphthongs, 8 sounds, and the consonants, a lot, 24 sounds. Now, as you can see, for each sound, I have the example and its pronunciation below for you to practice. So let's get started. Now, vowels. E, eat, eat, long E. And this one, short E, very short E. It. So the difference, eat, it. Next, this is short foot. This one, long ooh, food. Now the difference, ooh, food. Next, pen, not pen, okay? Pen. This one, over. This one, longer, okay? Bird. So the difference, shorter, over, bird. This one, long or. Now, or, short. Next, we have this one, cat. Now, the difference, pen, cat. This one, fun. The difference, over. This one, a little bit, open, fun. If it is you have to pronounce fun. No, not fun. This is fun. This one, long R. Okay, so as you can see, the long vowel usually with the colon here, E, or R with the colon. Okay. Now, R, car. Now the difference, R, fun, car. And the last vowel sound, this is short ah. Hot, hot. Now, the difference. Or, short, hot. Okay, and here the difference. R, car, hot. Now, continue with diphthongs. Remember that a diphthong is actually two vowel sounds together, but we pronounce the first vowel longer. Ear, ear, near, near. This one, or, tour, tour. This one, so we have air, air, hair, hair. A, from A to E, A. Face, face. This one, oi, oi, oi. Boy, boy. This, I, buy, buy. This one, o, no, no. And this one, ow, ow. How. Next, with the consonants. 24 sounds, and we have 8 couples. P, B, T, D. This one, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Why do I call them couples? Because for each couple, the way they are pronounced are the same. The difference is unvoiced, no vibration, and voiced with vibration. Now, for the first couple, P, B, okay? This one, P, no vibration, P, unvoiced. And this one with vibration, voiced, B, B. This one, P, poor, P, poor, poor. This one with vibration, B, B. Beer, beer. This pair, T, T. And this one with vibration, D, D. T, T. Unvoiced. Toy, 2 teeth together, T, toy, toy. This one, still 2 teeth together, but with vibration here, D, D. Under, under. This, unvoiced. Vibration here, voiced. The first one, far, far. This one, very, very. This couple, tongue between your teeth, unvoiced, voiced. Now this one, very gentle. Think, think. This one, remember with vibration, there, there. Now, next. Ch, unvoiced. J, voiced. Now, look at my mouth. Oh, sorry, this one. Ch, ch. Chair, chair. And this one with vibration. J, j. Job, job. And this couple, k and g, k, unvoiced. Now, cook, cook. Short u, cook. This one, g, voiced, g. Vibration here, go, go. This one. Now, s, s, unvoiced. And this one with vibration here. Z. Now, s, s, see, see. This one. Z, z. Zoo, zoo. And the last couple. Shh, shh. Unvoiced. And this one, voiced. Zh, zh. Very gentle. Now, shh, shh. Show, show. This one. Vision, vision. Next, this is sound. Very easy. My. And this one, now. This one, So, sing. This one, So it is hat. Now, this one, okay? So, learn. This one, just like sound. Rain. This one, war. Yeah. Yes. So one more time. Eat. It. Foot. Ooh. Food. Pen. Over. Bird. All. Short. Cat. Fun. Car. Hot. Diphthongs. Ear. Near. Or. Tour. Air. Hair. A. Face. Oi. Boy. I. By. Oh. No. Ow. How. Consonants. P. Pour. B. Beer. T. Toy. D. Under. F. Far. V. Very. think. There. Chair. Job. Cook. Go. See. Zoo. Show. Vision. My. Now. Sing. Hat. Oh. Learn. Rain. War. Yes. Very easy, right? Now, I have a task for you. Can you find all the vowels and the diphthongs in the examples of the consonants here? Tell me, okay? So, goodbye. See ya.
So, okay. As what you watch, there are also many specific differences between British and American pronunciation. And the video what you watch is the American pronunciation. We produce speech by moving parts of the vocal tract, including the lips, teeth, tongue, mouth, and voice box or larynx. The basic source of sound is the larynx, which modifies the flow of air from the lungs and produces a range of higher frequencies called harmonics. Different sounds are made by changing the shape of the vocal tract. There are two different major types of sounds. Vowels, such as a, e, o, and u, are made by modifying the shape of the vocal tract, which remains more or less open. While the sound is being produced, the position of tongue modifies the range of harmonics produced by the larynx. And the second is the consonants, such as P, B, T, D, K, G, are made by closing or restricting some part of the vocal tract at the beginning or end of the vowel. Most consonants cannot be produced without without some sort of vowel. Consonants. Consonants are made by closing or restricting some part of the vocal tract as air flows through it. We classify consonants according to their place of articulation, whether or not they are voiced, and their manner of articulation. The place of articulation is the part of the vocal tract that is closed or constricted during articulation. For example, P and B are called bilabial sounds and are made by closing the mouth at the lips, whereas T and D are made by putting the tongue to the back of the teeth. To understand the difference between B and P, we need to introduce a concept called voicing. In one case, P, the vocal cords are closed and vibrating by the moment the lips are released. B, P, P. The consonants are said to be pronounced with voice or just voice. In the other case, P, P. P. There is a short delay as the vocal cords are spread apart as air is first passed between them. Hence, they take some time to start vibrating. As what you can see at the presentation, that is the matter of articulation. English consonants as combination of distinguishing phonological features. Place of articulation, the stop, fricative, affricative, nasal, literal approximant or the approximant, the bilabial, labiodental, dental, alveolar, postalveolar, velar, and the glottal. To the next picture is the vowels as combination of distinguishing phonological features. There are the front, central, and the back, the high, mid, and low as what you watch on the video. So we can describe consonants in terms of the articulatory distinctive features, place of articulation, manners of articulation, and the voicing. It should be noted that some languages produce consonants such as clicks that are not found in European languages. That's all. And now is Miss Roan Faith Tubilas.
Vowels. Vowels are made with a relative free flow of air. The nature of the vowel is determined by the way in which the shape of the tongue modifies the airflow. The table 2.2 shows how the vowels can be classified, depending on the position, which can be raised, medium, or lower, of the front, central, or rear portion of the tongue. For example, the sound I in meat. Meat is an example of a high front vowel because of the airflow through the mouth, with the front part of the tongue in the raised high position. Meat. Two vowel sound can be combined to form a diphthong. Examples are the sound in my, cow, go, and boy. Whereas the pronunciation of the consonant is relatively constant across dialect, that of vowels can differ greatly. Syllables. Syllables are words divided into rhythmic units called syllables. One way of determining the number of syllables in a word is try to singing it. Each syllable will need a different note. Andrew Radford is a professor of Head of Department of Language and Linguistics at the University of Essex. Martin Atkinson is a professor in the Department of Language and Linguistics at the University of Essex. David Brittain is a senior lecturer in the Department of Language and Linguistics at the University of Essex. Harold Klassen is a professor in the Department of Language and Linguistics at the University of Essex. Andrew Spencer is a professor in the Department of Language and Linguistics at the University of Essex. For example, the word syllable has 3 syllables. Many words are monosyllabic. They only have 1 syllable. Syllable can be analyzed in terms of hierarchical structure. The syllable onset is an initial consonant or cluster. The rhyme consists of a nucleus, which is the central vowel, and the coda, which comprise the final consonant. Hence in the word clumps, cl is the onset, and the amps, the rhyme, which in turn can be analyzed into a nucleus, which is the central vowel, u, u, and coda, oops. In English, all of the components are optional. Apart from the nucleus, all words have to have at least a central vowel. The rules that describe how component syllables combine with each other differ across languages. For example, in the Japanese, words do not have their codas, and in the Cantonese word, only nasal sound and glottal stops are possible codas. Feature of words and syllable may span more than one phoneme, such as pitch, stress, and the rate of speech are called suppressed mental features. For example, a falling pitch pattern indicates a statement, whereas a rising pitch pattern indicates that the speaker is asking a question. Try to saying it. It's raining. That I statement. It's raining. That's a question. And it's raining. That is the statement of surprise. Stress varies within a word of some syllable receive more stress than others, and within a sentence, as some words are emphasized more than others. Taken together, pitch and stress determine the rhythm of language. Languages differ in their use of rhythm. In English, stress and syllables are produced in approximately equal periods of time. English is said to be a stress time language. In French, syllables are produced in a steady flow. It is said to be a syllable time languages.
Let's proceed to linguistic approaches to syntax. Linguistics provides us with a language for describing syntax. In particular, the work of the American linguist Noam Chomsky in 1928 has been influential in indicating constraints on how powerful human language must be and how it should best be described. The linguistic theory of Chomsky. Chomsky's work is based on two related ideas. First, the relations between language and the brain, and how children acquire language. Because language and the brain are closely linked. Specific parts of the brain like Broca's area and Wernicke's area help us speak and understand language. When kids learn to talk, their brains are very adaptable, which helps them pick up language quickly. And how children acquire language. Because children start by listening to sounds and practicing babbling. Around their first year, they use single words to mean bigger ideas. By 18 to 24 months, they begin combining two words into simple sentences. As they grow, they start forming more complex sentences and understanding grammar better. This learning happens through interacting with people around them. And second, a technical description of the structure of language. Because in simple terms, language is a system where sounds make up words, words make up sentence, and sentence follow rules to convey meaning. And the linguistic performance is how we actually use language in real life, including any mistakes or imperfections that happen when you speak or write. So Chomsky argued that to truly understand language, we need to look. A linguistic performance is how we actually use language in real life, including any mistakes or imperfections that happen when we speak or write. So Chomsky argued that to truly understand language, we need to look at both our ideal knowledge or competence and how we actually use it or performance, recognizing that they can be different. In his more recent work, Chomsky in 1986 distinguished between externalized language or E-language and internalized language or I-language. E-language linguistics is about collecting samples of language and understanding their properties. In particular, it is about describing the regularities of a language in the form of grammar. E-language linguistics focuses on studying real examples of how people use language. It involves collecting samples of spoken or written language and looking for patterns and rules in those samples. The goal is to describe these patterns and rules by creating a grammar that explains how the language works in practice. Essentially, it is about observing and describing the actual use of language to understand its regularities. Now, let's proceed to Now let's proceed to I-language linguistics. It's about what speakers know about their language. I-language linguistics is concerned with understanding what people know about their own language in their minds. It focuses on the internal knowledge or mental rules that speakers have, which allow them to produce and understand sentences. It also includes the grammar rules, the unconscious rules or principles that help us form correct sentence and phrases. It also includes the language competence, the inherent understanding of how language works, such as knowing which sentence structures are acceptable and which aren't, even if we don't always think about the rules consciously. Chomsky's linguistic theory. The first version was described in a book called Syntactic Structures 1957. This was Chomsky's first major book on the study of language. In it, he introduced new ideas about how sentences are structured, focusing on the rules that generate correct sentence forms. Think of it as his initial framework for understanding how sentences are built in our minds. And the 1965 version became known as the Standard Theory, which was an updated and more developed version of his earlier ideas. Chomsky refined these theories and introduced new concepts to explain how sentences are created and understood. The Standard Theory was a more complete and formalized system that became widely accepted and used in the study of syntax or sentence structure. This was followed in turn by the Extended Standard Theory and Revised Extended Standard Theory. Let's proceed to Extended Standard Theory. This was an update to the original Standard Theory. It expanded on the earlier ideas, adding more details and refining the rules for how sentences are structured. It aimed to address some of the limitations and complexities that the Standard Theory couldn't fully explain. And next, the Revised Extended Standard Theory. This was another step forward from the Extended Standard Theory. It further modified and adjusted the rules and concepts to improve the explanation of sentence structure and how language works. It made additional refinements to address new questions and observations. And then, Government and Binding or GB Theory, Chomsky, 1981. This theory introduced a new framework for understanding sentence structure. It focused on the concepts of government or how certain elements in a sentence control others, and binding, how pronouns and other elements relate to each other. GB theory offered a more comprehensive approach to syntax and introduced new ideas about the rules that govern sentence formation. The next one, the latest version, is called Minimalism, Chomsky, 1995. This is Chomsky's most recent theory. It aims to simply streamline the understanding of language by focusing on the most basic and fundamental principles. The goal of minimalism is to find the simplest set of rules that can explain the complexity of language, reducing everything to its essential components. Chomsky's theories evolved from more detailed and complex frameworks to a more streamlined and simplified model, each stage building on refining the previous ones. And now let's proceed to how should we describe the rules of grammar. Chomsky proposed that phrase structure rules are an essential component of our grammar, although he went on to argue that they are not the only component. According to him, he suggested that to understand how sentences are structured in our minds, we need to look at something called phrase structure rules, like what I've said. These rules help us break down sentences into their basic parts, like nouns and verbs, and show how these parts fit together. However, Chomsky also argued that phrase structure rules alone aren't enough to explain all the complexities of language. Why? Because he believed that there are additional rules and principles involved that help us understand and produce sentences beyond just the basic structure. In other words, while phrase structure rules are important, they are just one piece of the puzzle in understanding how we use and understand language. And next, an important aspect Another one, an important aspect of language is that we can construct sentences by combining words according to rules. One of the key things about language is that we can create sentences by putting words together in specific ways. For example, in English, we follow rules like putting a subject like I before a verb like eat and an object like apple. To make a sentence, I eat an apple. These rules help us form sentences that make sense and can be understood by others. For us to understand more the phrase structure rules, it is described how words can be combined and provide a method of describing the structure of a sentence. It is like a set of instructions for putting words together to make sentence. They show us how to arrange words into groups or phrases so that they make sense. For example, a simple phrase structure rule in English might say that a sentence should start with a subject like the cat, followed by a verb like sleeps, and then an object like on the bed. By using these rules, we can describe how sentences are put together and understand their structure. And another one is rewrite rules. Another one is the rewrite rules, are simply rules that translate a symbol on the left-hand side of the rule into those on the right-hand side. And it provided the example is a rewrite rule that says a sentence can be written on a noun phrase followed by a verb phrase. In phrase structure grammar, there are two main types of symbol. It is the terminal elements and non-terminal elements. Terminal elements is consisting of vocabulary items or words. Terminal elements are the basic building blocks of a sentence like individual words or vocabulary items. For example, in the sentence, the cat sleeps, the cat and sleep are terminal elements because they are the actual words we use in the sentence, while the non-terminal elements is everything else. It is more complex and include things that help organize or describe the structure of a sentence but aren't actual words themselves. They can be things like phrases or categories. For example, in the phrase, the cat is asleep, noun phrase and verb phrase are non-terminal elements because they represent groups of words or grammatical structures rather than individual words. In short, terminal elements are the words and non-terminal elements are the structure or categories that help understand how the words together. And the next thing is words fall into classes such as nouns, where words used to name objects and ideas, both concrete and abstract, such as big or truth. Adjectives, words used to describe such as pink or lovely. Verbs, words describing actions or states, or an assertion, such as kiss or modify. Adverbs, words qualifying verbs such as quickly. Determiners, words determining the number of nouns they modify such as the, a, and some. Prepositions, words such as in, to, and at. Conjunctions, words such as and, because, and so. Pronouns, he, she, it. And here is an image presented on our PowerPoint, a grammar for a fragment of English, where is sentence is equal to noun phrase plus verb phrase, and noun phrase is equal to determiner plus noun, and the noun phrase equals to noun, and the verb phrase is equals to verb plus noun phrase, and a verb phrase is equal to verb, and a noun is equal to Vlad, Boris, poltergeist, vampire, werewolf, and ghost, and the verb is equal to loves, hates, likes, bites, is, and the determiner is the, a, and an. Here is some example. We can distinguish two types of word. First, content words. Do most of the semantic work of the language. Include nouns, adjectives, verbs, and most adverbs. Content words are sometimes called open class words. Take note of that. Content words are the words that carry the main meaning or content of a sentence. They tell us what things are, what actions are happening, and what qualities or descriptions are involved. Include nouns, adjectives, verbs, and most adverbs is a categories of words that they probably think of first when considering the meaning of a sentence. And this means that new content words can be added to the language over time. For example, you can create new nouns, adjectives, verbs, and adverbs as needed, which is where they are called open class words. And for the next, function words do most of the grammatical work, tend to be short and used very frequently. Function words are class items, and take note of that again. Function words are like the glue that holds sentences together. They help with grammar and sentence structure rather than carrying a lot of meaning on their own. Function words are usually small, common words that appear often in sentences. Examples include and, the, in, on, and is. They are used a lot because they help connect content words and give sentences their grammatical structure. This means that the group of function words doesn't change much over time. Unlike content words, which can grow and evolve with new terms, the set of function words is relatively fixed. New function words don't get added to the language very often. Words combine to make phrases, which express a single idea. For instance, Vlad, the vampire, the old vampire, and the grouchy old vampire are all examples of noun phrases. They can all take the part of nouns in sentences. Phrases are constituents that can generally be systematically replaced by a single word while maintaining the same sentence structure. Phrases combine to make clauses. Clauses contain a subject or used to mention something and a predicate, the element of the clause that gives information about the subject. Now, let's proceed to different types of verbs. First, transitive verbs require a single noun phrase called a direct object. For example, kisses is a transitive verb. Transitive verbs are verbs that need a direct object to complete their meaning. The direct object is a noun or noun phrase that receives the action of the verb. For example, in the sentence, she kisses John, kisses is a transitive verb because it requires an object and John to make sense. So, kisses need something or someone to act upon, while in intransitive verbs do not require any further noun phrase. For example, laughs is a intransitive verb. Intransitive verbs are verbs do not need a direct object to complete their meaning. The action of the verb is complete by itself. For example, in the sentence, he laughs, laugh is an intransitive verb because it doesn't need anything else, like a noun or noun phrase, to make sense. The action is complete on its own. And for the last one, it is the transitive verbs require two noun phrases called the direct object and the indirect object. Example is the vampire is the subject and the ring is the direct object and the witch is the indirect object. Now, let's proceed to the summary of our topic. Different languages use different phonemes and language vary in difference in sounds that are important. Phonetics describe the acoustic detail of speech sounds and how they are articulated. Phonology describes the sound categories each language uses to divide up the space of possible sounds. The IPA or International Phonetic Alphabet provides a notation for sounds and a way of classifying them. Consonants are made by almost closing the vocal tract, whereas vowels are made by modifying its shape. In both cases, the place of constriction determines the sound we make. Consonants further depend on the manner of articulation and whether voicing is present. Words can be divided into syllables and syllables into onset and rhymes. The most influential work on linguistic theories of syntax has been that of Noam Chomsky. Chomsky distinguished between actual linguistic performance and idealized linguistic competence. The goal of linguistics is to provide a theory of competence. According to Chomsky, a complete linguistic theory will be able to generate all of the sentence of a language and none of the non-sentences. Will provide an account of people's intuitions about the knowledge of their language, and will explain how children can acquire language. In his early work, Chomsky argued that sentences are generated by the operation of transformational rules on a deep structure representation generated by phrase structure rules, resulting in a surface structure representation. Chomsky later argued that important generalizations about language are best explained by a set of principles and parameters. Language acquisition involves setting these parameters to the appropriate value given exposure to particular languages. In his more recent minimalist work, Chomsky has attempted to simplify the grammar by incorporating many of its aspects into the lexicon. And this is the end of our topic about describing language. Thank you for listening. Goodbye!